Hey. Should be live. Should be good. Boot up the game also. How's it going? Yeah. Yeah, I haven't streamed in forever. A really long time, so it'll be fun to stream again a bit. Yeah. Yeah, back to making games. Yeah, I don't remember the last time I streamed. It was like probably more than a month or two ago, like maybe 2 months ago, maybe even more, maybe 3 months ago. I don't know, it was a while ago. Volume a bit low. Oh yeah, I can turn it up a bit. Sorry, I didn't really test it. Oh, my microphone. Maybe I'll increase the gain a bit. Because the actual like microphone is like, or maybe I'll move the microphone closer to me. Let me know if that's any better. I'll see how it goes. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I increased the gain and just moved the microphone physically closer to me, so hopefully that's good. Get these wires sorted out here. Yeah, but I haven't streamed in a while. I've been working on the game still, despite not streaming. But yeah, haven't done any streams, so it'll be cool to stream again and kind of work on some stuff. I'm gonna today work on, I have a mini boss fight here that I want to do that is not done at all. So I'm gonna start, like I haven't even started it, so I was gonna start that today and see where we get. I don't know how far I'll get on it, but hopefully I can get it to the point where it's like not done, but at least a functional fight. But we'll see how that goes. And then, yeah, I mean, a lot of stuff has changed since the last time I streamed. There's like a lot more map stuff, a lot of unfinished stuff still. Like the game is still like nowhere near being done, despite I feel like the game's pretty small. Like it should be a pretty small game, but yeah, it's not close to being done yet. So quite a ways to go still. Yeah. Hello. Oh, hey, yeah, hey everyone. Yeah, I'm wondering if I should show some of the stuff I was working on between streams, but there's so much random stuff, like a lot has changed, so I probably won't go over everything. I'll probably just start working on this fight here. The biggest thing is like, yeah, some of the power-ups have changed. So there was stuff with like I think all the power-ups that I have existed last time I streamed, but like some of the theming of them has changed. So like one of them now is a shovel. So there's like running boots and stuff, which were always there. And there's an up slash, which is still not done. Like I haven't worked on the sprite at all for that. But there's also a down attack, and the down attack is an upgrade you get. But we decided to theme it as a shovel, and you get it in like these catacombs, so you can like smash down through stuff with it. And then yeah, you get the shovel in the catacombs. So the fight I was going to work on is a fight directly after you get the shovel in here. So you can like turn on these stone light things, and then this boss appears. Which I haven't, yeah, so this fight needs to actually exist. That guy currently does nothing. It's really awkward stuff. But yeah, that fight needs to actually exist. And this is the fight where you get the lantern from. So, that's the plan. Does Blah not have audio? Yeah, it doesn't right now. I mean, well, the game has audio, but I'm using Fmod for it. So yeah, my like C++ framework thing doesn't have audio stuff in it. And right now for this game, I'm using Fmod. But yeah, I'd like to add some like generic audio stuff to Blah at some point, but I haven't. Yeah, my brother is doing the music. There's a lot of echo, really. That's weird. I'm trying to think of how there's echo. Might be maybe the microphone. I haven't like tested the microphone setup, so it's possible that there's like background noise. So yeah, well, I guess let me know how it goes. If it keeps being annoying with the audio, I'll try messing with the microphone setup. It does seem like there's like, yeah, a lot of background noise or something. So maybe I need to add like a suppression thing to the microphone. But I'll try that in a bit if it doesn't work. It's a little reverb. Okay. Yeah. Maybe I'll add a suppression thing after and see if it fixes it. I could just try it right now if you all bear with me while I like mess with like is that a noise gate or no suppression maybe? Or does that just... Yeah. Okay, well maybe this might be too much. I can't hear my own audio obviously, so I have no idea what this sounds like, but I guess let me know if that helps at all. That's just like a noise suppression, which might not help with reverb. I don't know how audio stuff works. I program. Am I using Fmod Studio or the core version? Well, we use Fmod Studio for like the sound design stuff. So like, and then, yeah, the core stuff for like just playing the sounds and stuff. But yeah, I have the audio turned off right now because Liam, my brother, is still working on the music and stuff. So I'll wait until he's happy with it. But yeah. Yeah, I mean, the reason I'm using Fmod right now is also just because it's really easy to use, and I mean, my brother wanted to try it because he wanted to get into that stuff a bit more, so it seemed like an easy solution and an easy way to kind of get stuff going, and it's cross-platform and everything. But yeah, I mean, I would love to long-term use less proprietary stuff and use more open source things. Because I think Fmod is the only thing at this point that I'm using for this game that is like a closed source or like a more proprietary thing. So yeah, I would like to look into using more generic audio stuff, but like audio is like my weakest point in terms of like understanding how to code it and understanding how to implement it and what cross-platform APIs are like. I just don't really know any of that stuff. So for now, it was like Fmod was just an easy... And because I used it with Celeste, so I'd gotten quite used to it, so I just knew exactly how to set it up and what to do. And, but yeah, long term, I would like to use more open source stuff. So in the editor mode, are there any live instances of your entities or only preview objects? These are only preview objects. So like this medium crate is just like a preview. So there are no live objects. This is not... Like in Unity, I think most game engines, like most 3D game engines, it's the actual live object because it's a lot easier. You don't have to like code the space twice. Like you've already kind of in this editor, like ultimately like the objects are kind of not coded twice, but like there's a display for them here that exists, and then there's a display for them in the game, which is like coded separately. So you know, like it doesn't double the work, but it adds some overhead. So I think most 3D engines usually just have the actual live objects, and you're just looking at the game, you know, as it's paused from a 3D camera in the scene. But yeah, in this game, it's actually they're like separate, they're distinct. There's a lot of overlap. Like all the tileset rendering is the same code. It just calls like the draw tileset function on both this and in the game. So when you're running the game, it's calling draw tileset, and in the editor, it's calling draw tileset. But the actual objects just have like a simple render function. So if I look like an object in the game, where's like a crate? The crate just like has a preview, which is just like a entity preview, which just like says what size it is and what texture it is, and then an offset and stuff. And that's how it displays it in the editor here. Well, it's not a crate, but it's a block. But yeah, this crate was what I was looking at. I recently switched over to Fmod. Only thing in the project I don't have the source. Yeah, so that's what I'm at with too. Is like Fmod's the only thing I don't have the source for. So that's why like long term I'd like to use something, but that is open source and stuff, just so that everything I have I like have the source too. I like that. But on the other hand, like yeah, I just know Fmod really well, and yeah. Fmod does a lot of really fancy stuff with audio, so it's not really easy to replace. Yeah, that is true. So like Fmod, it's not just playing a sound. It's not like you say like, hey, audio engine, play a single sound, and then that's it. Like it's doing, like with the Fmod Studio, it has all sorts of like mixing and editing prop stuff in there. So like when you're playing sounds, it has like a whole system of like, you know, how to play everything, and like there's all these effects and stuff, and like there's mixing, and like it automatically does a lot of stuff. So you can add like, oh, like trigger this event, and then like globally, like you can manage all the sounds to do different things, or like add reverb to like, oh, when you're underwater, do all these things, you know, stuff like that. So it has a lot of, it's not just like loading WAV files and playing them. Because if that was the case, then I would definitely just like immediately switch to something like open source. But yeah, given all the stuff it does, it's not like a direct replacement. I'd either have to like code some kind of simple audio engine with mixing and stuff, or find an open source one. And I'm sure there are open source ones, but I just haven't. It's just, yeah, the thing, audio is the thing I have not spent any time like researching or learning at all. So at some point I will, but right now, yeah, this is just like the best solution for me. Oh yeah, actually there's a sound for this. It shouldn't be on. I think, yeah, this is an example of an Fmod thing where this sound isn't hooked up to the sound effect bus or whatever, so it makes a sound even though it's not supposed to right now. Yeah. So in theory here, you actually would not have, you'd have the shovel, but you wouldn't have the lantern as you go to this part. Yeah, okay. So this is the enemy I was gonna work on next. What are the changes or you've added in the game's last stream? Yeah, a lot of stuff, honestly. I was gonna like kind of run down all the stuff that's changed, but it's like a lot of small things and a lot of big things. Yeah, we've been working, like most of the stuff we've been working on, honestly, is like figuring out what the story progression, like the game progression and story is, and how the map works. So like we had an iteration of this whole area, and we threw it all out and restarted it and did it again. And so now it's a bit more solid. The dialogue is still really bad, so we're still working on that. But we've added a lot of like kind of characters and like progression and stuff, and like lots of small things. But yeah, the biggest thing now is I need to keep working on more enemies and stuff. But yeah, there's kind of a progression now. So you start over here and you go through, and then there's like a whole like thing you have to do in here to unlock the catacombs, and the catacombs like unlock the dungeon after that. So you are kind of like exploring, and that kind of all works. It's not like perfect yet, but you can actually like progress through this area, like complete different things, and enter the dungeon. The dungeon's completely unfinished. Like there's nothing. There's like tons of rooms that don't have anything in them. But like the basics are kind of there. So, and like between streams, yeah, I'm trying to think, like it's been a while since I streamed, so there's like a lot of small things, and a lot of bigger things, and like a lot of like technical things that had to get sorted out. So yeah, and a lot of cleanup, but most of the work went into just kind of figuring out progression. And again, we haven't been working on it full time. Like we've been kind of just doing it in our spare time. So, yeah, it's been moving kind of slow. I'm supposed to design a board game for Unity applications, but I only have experience with video game development. Oh yeah, I have a hard time with board game design. I tried to make some board games before, and it seems really fun. But yeah, my head is very much in like the video game design space. Okay. So I'm actually gonna get rid of this for now. Is there a way to do multi-line comments? Is it like this or something? thought there was a way to do, maybe this is it, but I think that's how to do it. I just want to comment out that so the fight starts immediately. Okay, cool. That is how you do it. It's just not showing it. It's not doing it in the preview. It's not changing the color. Yeah. So this boss fight, I have an idea for where like you get this shovel attack, which is like a down attack. We started out with just a down attack, but then we decided to make a shovel because you get it from like the catacombs and you use it to like destroy these blocks. So thematically, it started making sense to have it be like a shovel thing. So that kind of just fit into the theming of the area. Yeah. That Fmod re-implementation still blows my mind. Oh wait, I don't know if I've seen that. Oh, someone. I remember there's an open source Fmod DLL re-implementation somebody used to port Celeste to free BSD. Wow, yeah, that would be a lot of work, I imagine. Because yeah, Fmod is pretty huge. So like, I can imagine that it would be a ton of. I actually did not know that someone did that. I know people have ported Celeste to free BSD, but I thought they just did it without audio. I thought they just like done a soundless version of Celeste. I did not realize that it was like that. Yeah, that's really like that's really impressive. Like even getting to that point is like quite impressive, honestly. I mean, yeah, that's one reason why I long term want to use less proprietary stuff. Is just because if people want to port the game in like 10 years to something else that doesn't exist yet or whatever, it's a lot easier if all the source is like open and available and easy. So yeah, like I'd like to release all the source for this game like when it comes out. Like when we re-release this game, I'd like to just put all the source code for it online. But we'll see. For now though, yeah, I'm gonna start this fight. And my plan for this one is because you have the shovel like a down attack. We also have these like orbs that you can like bounce off of. And I want to make this boss fight have a. He's gonna like fly around, but he's gonna be kind of high up in the air over here, and he'll be shooting stuff down at you. And some of the projectiles will be really fast, and you just dodge them, but then some of them are gonna be slower, and then you can like bounce off them. So you'll like, jump up and like bounce off of them, and then like have to bounce on a few to get to the ghost before you can like slash him. That's the idea. I have no idea if it's actually gonna work very well. But that is my thought. And I think for simplicity, I'm gonna like, or for like the sake of this fight, I'm gonna remove these for now and make them spawn immediately. Yeah. And then I'll start these being on. Actually, that's easier. I should add. So he usually would wait for these to turn on, but if I just start them on, then I can start. Because every time I test this boss fight, I don't want to like have to turn these lights on every single time. Okay. And this is called the Catacomb Ghost. So I kind of started this Catacomb Ghost a little bit. I added a component that's like the Catacomb Ghost controller because my entity component system isn't like a true ECS. It doesn't have the system part. So usually when I need like a system, I just make a new component that does stuff. Kind of more like Unity. Like Unity's model behaviors is kind of how this works. Where I just have you know, a behavior, or in this case, a component that just kind of like does stuff. So this one has like different states that I'm just using a switch statement for, or not even a switch statement, if else statement. And then I have like appearing, and then a fighting state, and then hurting state, and then defeat state. And I haven't coded the fighting state at all yet. So the appearing one is like the ghost kind of appearing, and it'll say stuff if there's like a cutscene in Lua that it has to say, and then it goes into fighting. And the fighting doesn't do anything, and hurting doesn't do anything. And then defeated does do stuff. So right now I think I'm jumping like in the fighting update. I just immediately go to the defeat state just to like I was testing that out. Yeah. C# is really cool for that because you can. It's like so. What's the word? Decompilable, I guess. I don't think decompilable is a word. I don't know, but yeah, how accessible it is to just kind of do that is really really cool. Um, which is kind of a downside of making stuff in C++ is that it's just not. It's a lot less accessible to just do that with, which is kind of unfortunate. But if I just release all the source code for this, even though it's C++, then that should also work. But yeah, then the onus is more on me to actually release the source code. Whereas with Celeste, like, people can basically see the source code without us having to do anything. Did I transition everything to header only? Oh, no. So only for entities. So the entities are kind of weird. And yeah, I normally would not code C++ this way. Everything else is not header only. So like everything else has a header and a CPP file. The reason entities are like this is because entities are not included by anything except a single file right now. So there's like the different entity types, which are basically just factories. So the bat entity has no unique component. It's just this factory that like adds components and a simple behavior routine, and then that's it, right? So this is all imported by the entity factory, which just imports all the objects, and then when it wants to create a certain kind of enemy, it calls this entity like factory function and creates them. So because entities are not included anywhere, like you never like include, like no other file includes like the spike entity and does stuff with it, because the game doesn't care about, like, you never actually use the entity like files for anything. So because of that, I can actually just make them all like header only, because they're only included in one place. It does mean this translation unit, like this entity translation unit, is kind of huge because it has the code for all the different entities in it. But so far the entities are pretty simple, and there's not like, there's not that many of them. So to compile this translation unit takes like no time. If I had like hundreds of entities and they are all really complicated with lots of CPP code, then eventually, I'd switch them back to being header files with code, like CPP files. Like this one is already getting to the point where like maybe this should be in its own, like this function and like the catacomb ghost controller like thing should be in a CPP file, and I could do that, but yeah, for now I'm just not, because these are never included anywhere else. So until I like, and they never will be actually. I was gonna say like, oh, if I started to like include catacomb ghost header in like multiple places, then that would not work anymore. But I'm never going to include this anywhere else because it doesn't need to be used. Like the way entities interact with each other is all through components. They're never interacted, like no entity knows like, oh, this is a catacomb ghost enemy and I need to do this with it. Like that never happens. And like all entities are just kind of done through their components. So like, oh, there's a pushable component, or there's like a hittable component. So when you hit this thing, it does this. But nothing needs to know that like, oh, I hit a block, or oh, I hit a whatever. So I think there is one case where an object actually needs to know what the entity is, and in that case, entities just have a string name, and it's just saying, is this the block entity, like comparing strings, which is kind of hacky, but yeah. Sorry, that was like a pretty long-winded explanation, but hopefully it makes sense. Reading assembly isn't open enough for you. Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with the translation unit, really. But yeah, sorry, that was a very long-winded explanation, but it keeps it simpler. I was also getting annoyed, like every time I added a new enemy, or object at all, I had to like add header file and CP file and make sure it's in the CMake file, and like it was just getting annoying. And I was like, I don't actually need to do this because they're only included in one translation unit. Like there's only one file, which is the entity factory, actually includes them. So I just don't need to do that stuff. But yeah, actually, like, yeah, so I'm just like aware of that. I'm also the only programmer on this. So as long as I'm aware, like, hey, don't include any of the entity files anywhere else, then it's fine. Pokemon Twitch bot. What's the Pokemon Twitch bot? Is it like a Pokemon like playing Twitch bot? Sorry if I'm distracting you from your own stream. Cool. Yeah. At some point, this game is not on GitHub yet, but the engine, the quote unquote engine I'm using, blah, this is on GitHub, and this is what the whole game uses to kind of run and stuff. And it's not like super good, but it's just what I've been using and kind of putting together slowly for fun. Yeah. Okay. So the actual fight. I have a lot of fun answering questions and stuff, and it means I don't actually work on the game very much, but that's okay. Actually, maybe before I do this, I'll also quickly explain these, which is, it doesn't really need to be explained, but this is just like my like hacky coroutine solution in C++. Because I like coroutines a lot, but C++ doesn't have them yet. C++ 20 adds them, but I'm not using C++ 20 yet. So this is basically just like it's just like macros to hide a switch statement, or I guess like state. And so like this ends up being like case 0, blah 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 blah, and then case 1, like do this stuff, and then like easy ways to like it actually has like this wait one does stuff where it's like, oh, like if timer, it does stuff to like wait for things before it's like this thing is like I think it's like go to like state.next or state.at is equal to 1, and then state.timer is equal to 1.0f, and then there's a wrapper around this which is like if state.timer is like 0, it's like this kind of thing. But yeah, I just wrote kind of a simple macro thing to do it, which I like a lot. So then I can do things like, oh, wait for a time, and then weld the alphas like on this, and then wait a frame, and then until this happens, like wait. So it's good for like simple routines, because I find like writing a giant switch statement really annoying, and especially because half the time I was doing stuff like this is how I started in C++, was doing a giant switch statement, but then I'd have like case 0, do this, and then like 30 cases, and then like, oh, I need to insert a case at like between these two, and then I have to like increment all the other cases down and make sure that all the numbers line up still and stuff, and it got really annoying. So now I'm just doing this, and it uses the line number, like there's like that line macro, to figure out like that's how the case number works, which works pretty well. But anyways, I need to figure out what I want to do with this fight. Which I haven't totally figured out yet. Right now it just kills itself immediately, so that's just like it's dying, or when you beat it is what it's gonna do. And there's a really bad like get upgrade animation, which I have to work on a lot. It's really bad right now. How do you build a decent work ethic? I found that I can barely work more than a few hours before I get tired, or it's like, I mean, okay, yeah, like I think working for a few hours pretty good. Like I don't think I ever work more than a few hours without some kind of break. Like I'll work for 2 or 3 hours, and then I'll go for a walk or get lunch or do something, right? I don't think I like work like solid the whole day at all. And I think the other thing is just like, yeah, it's that balance thing of like, I think you want to find other things to do too, so that when you are working, you're excited about working because you have other things as well. Like I won't, I'm trying to think of a way to phrase that better, but like, if all you do is work, like if you're just working on stuff 24/7, you get like burnt out, and like it's really hard to keep doing stuff every day. But if you just work for only like a normal amount of time in a day and have other things that you're doing, then it kind of breaks up the flow a bit more. You can think about the stuff you want to work on while you're not working on it, because it's kind of in the back of your mind doing stuff, and you're kind of more like, it just gives yourself more pacing, so you're not like, yeah, because I think I've been in a situation before where I just like basically think, oh, I'm just gonna work, like I don't have anything else going on, I'm just gonna work for like 16 hours all day every day, without weekends, and just keep going and make a lot of stuff. But then like you just get burnt out and you end up doing way less than otherwise. So I think, yeah, pacing yourself and finding other things to do. Like I go on bike rides and stuff, things like that, and other things that aren't just making stuff can be good. Young age helps, yeah. Yeah, it's using SPL too. Yeah, totally. 2 hours solid, like two hours like solid work in a day, are like you can get a lot done in that time. Especially if you know, like if you come into it like, I know this is what I want to do today. You like, yeah, 2 hours can give you a lot of time to do it. Yeah, I agree, Bart. Can you run it once after 2 hours of coding without any bugs? Yeah, it depends. Like 2 hours nonstop of coding without testing it and not have bugs, I think that's rare. I usually have bugs like, I usually have bugs after like 30 seconds of coding, so I don't know. Yeah, I usually compile like yeah, very frequently. So the question, but do you have ever deal with block when programming? Um, like yeah, like a programming block or like a writer's block kind of deal. Yeah, definitely. Like, uh, I go in waves of being able to do stuff, and there's definitely like days and sometimes weeks where I get basically nothing done because my just can't figure out how to move forward on something, or like not motivated to. Um, yeah, I definitely have times when I'm not getting anything done, and it happens. And I think the best thing you can do in those situations is just like try to understand it's normal, and you know you'll find ways to hopefully get past it in the future or get motivated again in the future. But I think forcing yourself to try to get stuff done when you're really not there is sometimes more demotivating than it's worth. So in that case, I think maybe best to take a break. But yeah, I find it hard to not try to keep working even when I'm like really not feeling it. It's tough to figure out. Okay, I need to actually figure out how this boss fight is gonna work. I think I want a simple routine that's basically. Actually, I need to check. Does it have a? No, I need to add a collider to it first so you can actually hit it. So I'll start with that. Which I guess I'll do here. So after it appears, it needs to create. Maybe I'll add a function for it. Which I'll just do. Well, setup even. Fighting setup. Every time I work on a game, I feel so overwhelmed that I can't write a single line of code. Right, yeah. I think in that case, maybe trying to break it up into just like really small, simple, achievable things. Like when you're not working on it, try to figure out like one thing that you want to do. Like I want to make it so the character falls, or I want to make it so that this tree looks cool. Like one simple thing, and go into it with just like trying to do that and that alone, and not like. It's harder to come into it and just like sit down and make something without having any idea about what you want to do next, because then you kind of like the paralysis sets in. So yeah, maybe that will help. Do you see that Git AI thing? Yeah, seems interesting. Seems like there's gonna be weird copyright issues with that. I don't know, or like it was like taking. I saw threads about it, like taking code and not crediting it all like verbatim, basically. It seems like a way to skirt around like crediting and like licenses and stuff. I don't know. It feels. I have mixed feelings with that. I had a screen share for an hour a day a month to get through some console network and stuff. Yeah. There's some stuff that I just like. I procrastinate on certain tasks, such as this boss fight, for a really long time because I just don't. Yeah, I just keep. I don't know. I get hung up on certain things, and yeah, I think it's normal. Okay, I'm gonna add. I will reply to myself in a second. But I'm gonna quickly add. I also don't mind answering questions at all. It's really fun. But I'm gonna quickly add this hittable thing, which is. And I think I need to add a collider for this as well. Okay. This is not going to do anything yet, but this is a callback for when we get hit. And we also need a collider that will take being hit. I probably don't need this comment. I think this collider should be a rectangle. I think it should be a rectangle. Let's start. I have no idea how big it should be, so let's start with that. And, so this is the hitbox that you can actually hit this thing with, and then it has this hittable component that'll receive the hits. And then I need an on 5. I have no idea how much health it should have. I'll start with best too high, 15 health or something. And then on die, we want to set our repeat state. Okay. So that's fighting setup. So now, if I test quickly, I should be able to at least see that it has a glider, which it does. It's pretty big actually. That might be too big. And now I'm not gonna make it die instantly when it goes to the fighting state. Okay. That is a big distraction, but you don't even spend hours of it. Yeah, exactly. I like answering questions and stuff. It's fun. And I definitely work slower when I'm streaming, but I also work on things that I procrastinate on because I have to do it, because I said I was going to. Okay, so now it can be hit, and in theory, if I hit it 15 times, which is a lot of times, can I like just bounce on it? Oh, I don't know why that's not working. But I guess I will hit it 15 times. I don't know. I know it's gonna work already. Yeah, okay, and then it dies. That's cool. I feel like streaming is good if you really don't feel like working because it gets you going. Yeah, exactly. I definitely feel that. Like yeah. I'm streaming. Well, I enjoy streaming and I enjoy answering questions and stuff, but I'm also streaming because I've been procrastinating on this fight for like 2 weeks and I just need to actually do it. And this is making me actually do it. Wow, that's some fun UI refreshing there. Cool. I would feel pressure to make a stream worthwhile. Like people don't want me to see feelings. Yeah, I definitely feel like that too sometimes. I've had streams where like something really weird happens that I can't figure out, and it's just like, yeah, there's a weird memory crash here, and I don't know what the fuck's going on. And then it is me just like fiddling around for a while, and I mean that's just the reality of coding, though. So. This down here. Kind kind of weird that like C++ lets you do this. Like this function has not been declared yet, but whatever. Yeah, they can be, yeah. Okay, so then on hit, I feel like I was gonna add like a hurting event. Like when you hit it, it would do something. But I think for now I'll leave that. I might do something with that. But for now I'll just let you hit it and it won't do anything. So I think my hittable should have a thing for like impact or something. Like I wanna not impact effect. Thought I had something for, I think reflect is what it's called. I don't know. There's like a thing to change. Oh, knockback. This should just be called knockback, not reflect. I'm gonna rename this variable later, but I don't want to go through all that on stream and find all the, or replace them all, so I'll do that later. But I think knockback should be weak on this ghost. It is a ghost, I guess. But that should make the player kind of like push away from it when they hit it. Yeah, like that instead of just like. I think it's good. It should also make me. Yeah, I can do that, and it doesn't instantly. Now I need to make the actual behavior of this thing, which is the fun part. So, okay, there's a few things I need to do. I have this explosion fly object. And I basically want something like this, but I think I'll come back to that. Can you not automatically rename all instances of functions plus Visual Studio? You can, you totally can. And actually for this case, it probably would work because it's named something kind of unique. But Visual Studio, C++, like renaming stuff sucks. And 90% of the time it renames completely unrelated stuff. Like if I rename this mstate, tons of different stuff has mstate in it. And it's not smart about finding like, oh, you mean like the one in Catacomb Ghost controller. So like if I just went to it, but if I like renamed, where is it? If I rename this, it thinks like it knows what I'm talking about. Actually, it doesn't even. It thinks that it's like, it doesn't even realize that it's not like inside this. It thinks it's a symbol in like the global namespace. So like, it's really bad. It's like C#. Visual Studio is like perfect. I've never had any problems with C# in Visual Studio. It runs perfectly, it debugs perfectly, it renames everything perfectly, no problems at all. But C++ Visual Studio, like, yeah, it's a whole thing. Yeah, I should try C-Lion. C-Lion. I think I have it installed on my computer actually because I was going to try it. And this is using CMake, so it should run. But yeah, I just haven't given it a try yet. Okay, what do I want this enemy to actually do? I haven't really, I mean, I know vaguely what I want it to do, but I don't know if I want it to move places or if I want it to like, yeah, steal your soul. That's what it should do. I think it should teleport. So maybe I'll just do that really like simply for now, but I also need to figure out like where the play space is, and I could just hard code that in as a rectangle. Like it needs to vaguely stay within like, you know, this rectangle. Which maybe I'll just hard code in, or I could add fields to it. Is this centered right now? I think it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And like, okay, and I think it won't go lower than this because you have to jump up to get it. So I'll just do region. Uh, 8 times 12 is a number. 96. I'm just guessing right now. Yeah, I'd like to make this part of the editor, probably. Like, I should probably add a way to, like, add a rectangle that you can select to drag for this object. Because if I ever place this enemy, I mean, I probably want this enemy is probably going to only exist in this one spot because it's a mini boss. But if I ever move this enemy somewhere else, like in a different room, it would be nice to be able to like size it properly for that room. But for now, I'll just leave it. And hopefully this is right. Actually, how do I want to do this? I think fighting isn't like this should be split into multiple states because it's gonna teleport somewhere. And shoot a bunch and teleport somewhere else. I'll just try it for now. So I guess I'll start by saying like fade out. So yeah, okay, so I'm just gonna try coding this so it fades out. And then it's gonna teleport somewhere random inside of the range, or it's inside of the region. So actually, I should probably use this. I have like a really simple, stupid, random thing I made. It's just a really simple random seed generator that I'm going to use instead of the global one. So it's relative to this object. Faster, I think. And then I'll just throw this in here. Okay. So this should just make it teleport around, fading in and out, teleporting around randomly. Oh yeah. Yeah, it is kind of like the misery fight. My favorite game, or one of your favorites if you don't have a single one? Yeah, I think my favorite, like, my go-to answer for that is usually, like, Link to the Past and Cave Story. And I think that's mostly still true. I honestly think that, like, I'm a bit tired of Link to the Past because I've seen it so much. I've watched a ton of Randomizer. I've, like, played that game through, like, a dozen times. So I feel like my head is kind of exhausted with it, but I still love it so much. And it inspires a lot of the stuff I do. But yeah, it's still really good. I'm trying to think of other games that like more recently, like Breath of the Wild, I really liked. So yeah, like Zelda and indie platformers. Um. Oh. Oops. You haven't played either? Oh, you haven't played either Link to the Past or... Oh, I just played Webbed yesterday. I downloaded it on Steam yesterday. Um, it's not waiting the amount of time you... I think my wait function is... Speaking of this thing, I feel like it's not... I feel like this while loop is broken somehow. Or well into a wait is broken, so I'll have to fix that. Yeah, okay. So I'll have to fix that later, but I won't do that right now. The ghost definitely needs a light so you can see it. Okay, the other thing I want to do is I want to store our position, and I don't want it to teleport too close to where it was. I have played Tower of Heaven. It's really good. Music is really good too. I have not Pause Ahead. I don't know if I played Pause Ahead or not. Maybe? I don't think so. No, I haven't played Pause Ahead. Okay, yeah. No, I've seen Pause Ahead, but I have not played it. But I have played Tower of Heaven. Yeah, I should check it out. I didn't play Cave Story or Link to the Past. I did play Breath of the Wild, and I didn't really like it that much. Yeah, that's super fair. I really like Breath of the Wild, but I totally understand it's not for everyone. I would like if you want to play, like if you want to see like indie platformer stuff and like what inspired a lot of indie platformer stuff, then I definitely recommend playing Cave Story. It's like from 2004, and it's kind of like one of the first larger like indie games that I know of. I mean, it's what made me kind of inspired to make indie games in the first place. Was Cave Story. I super recommend checking it out. There's like a Cave Story remake that's out on a bunch of different stuff, but there's also just like the original freeware one, which you can just download from like a fan site. It's a free game, and it's like super good. Oh, hey, Brett. Yeah, I started at 1 today, but I was a bit late anyways. Like, I didn't start till like 1:20 or something. Hope you're doing well. Yeah. Like, I'd been making indie games a little bit before I played Cave Story, and then I played that and I was like, holy shit, I really want to, I really want to do this. So this is making it to it, when it teleports, it can't teleport exactly where it was or close to it. So if it can't like teleport back where it was. And I just do that by like going to different places until eventually we're hopefully somewhere else. And then I just give it 100 attempts so it can't go into an infinite loop somehow if my random function is like messed up or something. Or the area that it can teleport within is too small. And I'm just kind of using random numbers. I don't know what the right amount is here, but yeah. Actually, this room, I think I want to add, I have a way to camera offset -24. Let's try that. I think more than that. -48. That's pretty good. I think it's better. Yeah, okay. Any thoughts about working with NLua and C#? I don't know NLua. NLua. Oh, bridge between Lua and .NET Lua. That makes sense. Okay, I haven't tried it. Seems cool though. I like Lua, so yeah. Why not? Looks cool. Oh man, that's not refreshing. I like Lua a lot. Like since I started using C++, I like Lua a lot because it lets me do things like conversations and stuff really easily. And I can like just plug in like, you know, all the cutscenes in this game are done in Lua. So when a character says something or whatever, like it's done in Lua like this because it's just so much easier to do than like coding unique objects for all like. I don't want to code unique stuff for these, and I don't want like I could add some kind of GUI implementation where you know you add nodes or like add a conversation nodes and stuff like that, and that would be okay. But like Lua for this is just really easy. Like plug in and be like, okay, now I can run these little routines, and they can say stuff, and they can like you know set variables and whatever. That I really like it for that. So yeah, I definitely like it for that kind of stuff. Oh, hey. Radical Fish Games, thank you for the raid. Hope you're doing well. What were you up to? But yeah, in Celeste, all the cutscenes in Celeste are coded just directly in C#, because the iteration time there is pretty fast. But yeah, I honestly in C# or in Celeste, I kind of wish that we'd done the cutscenes a bit differently. Gamedev mostly. Cool. Yeah, I was the co-creator of Celeste, so I worked on Celeste a lot. I did a lot of the coding and yeah, collaborated with Maddie on design stuff and things. Yeah. Yeah, I guess for everyone who just joined, like I'm Noel and I make small indie games and stuff. This is my side project that I'm making with my brother. So like, I'm working on a larger game with the same people as Celeste again, called Earthblade. This is not Earthblade. This is a separate project that I'm just doing kind of on my weekends. It's kind of like a little Metroidvania thing, and yeah, so you can like jump around and slash stuff. Yeah, and I'm working on a mini boss right now, which is unfinished, and I'm working on it very slowly. But so far, I have it teleporting around, so it kind of jumps around to different places. And I need to give it a light. It's really hard to actually see if it goes too high. And there's no background in this room either, so it's even harder to kind of see. Once I add like background tiles to all this stuff, it'll probably be better. But right now there are no background tiles. Is the embedded Lua editor something you had to do, or something that comes with Dear ImGUI? It's not something that comes directly with Dear ImGUI, but it's on Git. So I someone like added it to Dear ImGUI, so it plugs in pretty nicely. It's not perfect. It has some bugs and stuff, but it's good enough for my purposes of just like needing a quick text editor. And I can't remember what it's called, but if you just like look up like Dear ImGUI code editor, it's like the first thing on GitHub. Yeah. And yeah, using C# for the cutscenes could totally work, but it still has that like not nice thing of like you have to, you know, rebuild every single time you want to test your cutscene. Which I mean, I'm doing that for like fights and stuff, but like I really like being able to like do cutscenes just in here, just opening up a script editor and be like, hey, like you say stuff, and then it runs, and oh, something was wrong. Okay, I'll just edit the script, and like, yeah, I like that a lot. You saw on Twitter that Chevy Ray is working on Earthblade 2. That's pretty exciting. Yeah, Chevy is working on Earthblade. He's doing a lot of cool programming for us. Or with us. C++, yeah, C++ is scary. Yeah, I definitely recommend Dear ImGUI. I think it's really cool. it's kind of weird because it's an immediate mode GUI, and there's like a required amount of jank for that to even be functional. But it's really nice. Like it's just like really easy to set up, really easy to use. I like it a lot. Yeah, but due to being like an immediate mode GUI, there is like oddness with it because there has to be, because it's like, doing things on the fly immediately. So, but yeah. No, Celeste was made in C#. So Celeste was yeah, all C#. Use C# in XNA. So like XNA is deprecated, but it's Microsoft's like game thing for Xbox. And now there's ports of open source ports of XNA, one called Monogame and one called FNA, and they like re-implement XNA. So in Celeste we used FNA for Mac and Linux ports, and we use Monogame for console ports. I'm just gonna add some so it's easier to like. I shouldn't actually spend time doing this right now because I'm going to probably replace it all later, but it's kind of fun to do anyways. And yeah, I need to not procrastinate too much on this fight because I've been procrastinating on it forever. So, how do you like XNA versus Unity? So they're quite different. So it depends on kind of what you want out of an engine. So like Unity is like a full-featured like engine with an editor, and you're doing stuff inside of Unity. XNA is kind of bring your own editor. So it's just like, here's the framework. You can tell it to draw stuff. You can tell it to open a window. You can tell it to like, play sound, stuff like that. But there's no like editor interface for it. There's no like level editor. There's no like, component system built in. I think XNA has a weird component system, but it's not like, a GUI that you're editing stuff in. So if you like that more, like just kind of doing your own thing, and it just gives you the accessible way to draw stuff basically to a window, then yeah, I like it quite a bit. If you want like an actual like featured editor where you're like, dragging components onto things and like it comes with a level editor and everything, then Unity is probably more what you'd feel like using. Or like Godot or Godot or whatever, or like, yeah, Unreal or something, or GameMaker. Oh, that's cool. Thanks, Radical Fish Games, again for hanging out. Any recommendations about efficient cutscene making? Not really. Like in C#, if you're using C#, like cutscenes, I really like using coroutines for cutscenes. So, or like C# has I enumerators, and those for cutscenes is really nice because you can like, write stuff in yield, and it can continue on nicely. Like Lua has coroutines built in as well, which is what I'm using for like cutscenes. So when a character says something, like it says wait, and then play this animation, and wait, and then say this stuff, it's like running that in a coroutine. So it's not running this all in one go. It's like, yielding and then like coming back to this function later. So C# having that's really nice because you can kind of do that stuff. So I definitely recommend coroutines for cutscenes. XNA does not have a physics engine, no. So you have to write your own or use Box2D or something. Is this mini boss bullet hell kind of boss? Yeah, it's gonna be kind of bullet hell-y for sure, I think. It's my current plan, unless it doesn't work. Oh, I missed whatever this question was, sorry. Yeah, Lua is a C API. Lua comes with like a single C++ header that you can like include, and then it kind of wraps it in like a C++ thing. Yeah, the reason I switched to C++ was because, yeah, one is learning experience. I wanted to learn C++, and I definitely did. The other thing is like I wanted to do like console development more easily, and C Sharp does not run on consoles by itself right now. It's getting closer, it's getting better, but it doesn't run directly on like consoles. Whereas C++, you can just compile the C++ for different consoles. So that was a big reason for me learning it, was I just wanted to like compile my own stuff onto consoles directly. Yeah, I think Rust has the potential to be quite portable. Like it's like as far as I know, it's like LLVM and stuff like that. So I feel like long term, Rust should totally be able to run on consoles like no problem. But it will require someone like writing the back end for it basically. Um, yeah. How much time is spent in C++ versus scripting at this stage in development? Um, yeah, actually, it's kind of split. It depends on what I'm doing in a day. So, like, if I'm working on like level design and characters, like then almost all of it's just spent in this editor. Like, I don't even use the script like the C++ almost at all. I'm just kind of like, because I can just place objects. So like, oh, I need a new NPC, um, and I can place them like I'll place them here and I'll give them a sprite or whatever, uh, and then um, I'll mostly stuff like this then, uh, and just doing things that way. But then when I'm working on things like new enemies or like mechanics, or like kind of structural engine things, then it's in C++. Yeah. So like this enemy is I'm coding. I could actually try coding this enemy in Lua. I have a way to like load objects as Lua objects, um, but I generally speaking have liked coding enemies more in C++ because I don't have all of my components and stuff down. This is like keeps doing this today, not refreshing that part of the UI. Weird. Um, yeah, I guess I'm using like Visual Studio 2022 or whatever, like the beta preview, and it's pretty good. It's pretty cool. But it has some like it's not refreshing stuff all the time. Um, what was I saying? But yeah, all my components and stuff aren't bound to Lua totally yet. So like I can't do like I can do more in C++ than I can in Lua still. Lua is kind of all it does is like I can do cutscenes, I can make characters say things, I can make them walk around, I can set variables, but I can't like you know um, check for attack damage and stuff. Is this gonna go up on YouTube? Yeah, I'll try to put this on YouTube. How hard is it to get your editor set up? Honestly, since we're able to watch Road to Unity. Um, it took a bit of iteration. But I've done a lot. Like I've been doing this kind of stuff on my own for quite a while, so I'm kind of used to it. So I know what goes into it and what needs to happen. Um, and it's been a very iterative process, right? So it was very like it started off very simple, and I've just kind of added more and more stuff to it over time, and refactored it. So yeah, I think using Dear ImGUI, which is like the UI system, using that sped it up a lot. So I didn't have to write my own. Like if I had to write my own like text input boxes and drop down things and all that stuff, like that would have been annoying and taken forever. So having Dear ImGUI just handle this kind of stuff was really nice. And then otherwise, the actual editor is just like there's not that much code here. Like this is the editor code. So there's the different like there's the main editor, then there's the map editor, and yeah, there's a fair amount of code here, but it's not ridiculous. And then there's like different layers, and you actually don't really see the layers when you're just editing it here, but like the entities is one layer, the solids is another layer, and tiles is another layer. And actually, the bounds editor is considered a layer, so I can like resize these rooms. But yeah, it was just like it was a slow iterative thing that I kind of slowly worked on. But I enjoy this stuff. Like I really like making stuff like this, so this is why I use it over Unity. Um, but I think there's more overhead. So if you just want to use Unity and get stuff happening, it's faster, right? It took me longer to kind of get going than Unity would have. Um, I'm not using a Lua binding framework. I'm just using straight up Lua right now. So if I go to like a component, here's how I can show you how I set it up. Game components. Animator has bindings. So I have like a bindings object that I wrote. So script bindings. This class called script bindings basically just has like what the name is and then the different like the bindings. And the bindings are just like the name of the thing and the actual callback function. So then, for example, animator it's called an animator, and then I just add these functions. So like, sprite. So like this is a function called sprite. It has comments, and then arguments, which don't do anything. They're just there for documentation. And then this is the actual Lua function that gets called like when you call this. So I get itself, because in Lua like the first parameter is itself. So I get itself. And then I say like, oh, like, is it a Lua string? Then like play or get the sprite and then like play whatever. So I just bind different functions like this. And then when the game starts up, it goes through all the different components and adds all their different functions. So I have like a scripting, where is it? A scripting thing here that basically goes through here. And I say like, I add all the different bindings for like the player and the animator and the interactor and collider, etc. And I add their bindings. And then at the end of the day, I actually output it to a file, so I can like look at them quickly to see like what all the different bindings are. And this function is not parsed by Lua; it's just purely for documentation, and it looks like Lua because that was useful to me to kind of remember. But yeah, so it outputs those bindings into a file like this that doesn't do anything but is easy to read. Because I was constantly finding like, oh, like I know that there's a function call on like the animator component, but I can't remember what it's called or whatever. So now I can just like look at here and see them all in like one place. And these are like all the functions in the entire game that are accessible from Lua. Yeah. Realize I have so much to learn still. Yeah, I mean, I've been doing this stuff for a long time, but I'm still learning constantly. What do you mean by layer? If you meant in the editor, it's actually a bad name at this point. But originally in the editor, these were not all in like one view. So there was like an entity layer, a solids layer, and a background tile layer, and a foreground tile layer. And you have to like select the layer you want. So you'd be like, oh, like select the entity layer or select the solids layer. And then it would like show like what you can place in this layer. So they were more distinctly like layers in the room. But I found that really annoying because I constantly was like having to switch between the different layers. So I've simplified it now, and it's just like all the layers are kind of displayed at once. And then whichever one you click on, like when I click on this solids, like one of the solids, it switches inside the editor to like internally, now you're editing the solids layers, now I can place solids. Or like, oh, if I click on a character, now you're like placing, you're editing the actors or whatever, and you're not editing solids anymore. And if I click back on a solid, then it switches to this. If I switch back to these actors, then it does that. Or if I click on one of these tiles, now I'm placing tiles. So it's still switching between layers internally in the code, but to the user, which is me, it just looks like I'm clicking on stuff and placing it, which I liked more than having to like constantly switch. Oh, click on the entity layer, then click on an entity, or like, oh, click on the solids layer, then click on a solid, then click on the mat. Like it's just, yeah, very tiny usability thing. Earthblade is also being made in C++ right now. I wish I could like pay someone to like review where I'm at in my Gamedev journey and then recommend what skills I need to learn next. Yeah, yeah. That stuff's always tricky, like figuring out what to learn next and where to go and stuff. I feel like I'm mostly self-taught, and it definitely feels like it takes longer to self-teach than like if you just like went to school and learned this stuff in a class. But I also like being self-taught a lot. Like I like just doing my own thing and seeing where it goes. I don't think I'm very good at like school environment stuff, but for some people it's really good. Okay, I'm gonna actually work on this boss fight. Yeah, I feel like I agree with you. Definitely works for me better too. Okay. Oh right, this boss needs a light on it. I think I'll just add immediately. Like, is there any reason? Another light should be big. The light has to start disabled, and then when it appears here, okay, so now it should have a light on it. Oh, the light is like weird. Okay, that's weird. Okay, one is it's too small actually. It just made it too small. And it's too high. Oh, I guess the sprite's centered, so I don't need to do an offset. And then it has like this, like, I forget what this is called, but I have like a light source alpha, which should be 0 for this object. Most lights don't really have a source alpha, but like the lanterns do, I think. Like if I look at a lantern, they have like these are the source, these little flickering things, which is good for some objects, but a lot of objects that project light or emit light, emit light, don't really need that. Okay, so that's better. So in theory now, it would not have the lantern. So I come into this room, it would be pretty dark. And then it appears. And it'll say stuff there instead of just like immediately going to boss fight mode, but now it'll go into boss fight mode. Cool. Yeah, I think that's true. Yeah, like it's hard to. Yeah, that's why I think like self-teaching can take longer, because it's not as direct to like, we're gonna do this and we're going to like teach you how to do these exact things, and then now you'll know how to do those. You're kind of just like stumbling through, doing your own thing and finding stuff, which I like a lot. But yeah, it has the caveat of like, you could just not get anywhere for a while, or like it's harder to find resources sometimes, stuff like that, than if someone is just literally telling you like, this is how it works. Okay, so there's disappearing and reappearing, and then I think we will wait, but not this long. And now what I want to do is shoot projectiles, and there's certain types of projectiles that need to be shot. It has 2 different ones, and I think sometimes I'll just use big shoot. What's the difference between these animations? Oh, it actually is. Okay. Okay. Cool. Yeah, thanks for hanging out. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Yeah, okay, so I want to make it so that I have a projectile I'm just going to start using, and then I need other projectiles too, but I'll start with this one, which is, I think, Quick Bullet. Yeah. I'm gonna play just normal shoot. Okay. I need to make a way to like delay on these nicer, more nicely. 1,000. I don't know why these frames are so slow. Like 100. Wait, that just do 10? Sprite's running really slow for me right now, which is kind of weird. Okay. So wait, that was... Yeah, this is about right. Okay, I guess I need to figure out how to shoot, or what way to shoot. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with my PC today. Maybe it's like, I am running Windows 11 now. I tried it, which was maybe a mistake, so maybe it's just like weird refreshing Windows 11 stuff being janky, I don't know. Try this really quick. This is kind of not perfect, but try this really quick. It's shooting directly at the player, so yeah, this is gonna be kind of weird, but it should at least like work. Okay, so I think I want to make it so that yeah, yeah, Windows 11. Yeah, I don't really have that many problems with it. It looks nicer. The settings stuff is like nicer. It doesn't really feel that different to me, but there are like a few things that are really annoying, um, that I am not a fan of really. That just seems kind of like weird they took out for some reason. Like I don't really understand. Like one of the things I use a lot, which you can't see in the stream because it's like cut off by my stream thing, but like before you could like drag stuff onto applications in the taskbar. So there's a taskbar, and then you could like drag. For example, if I wanted to upload a GIF to Twitter, I would like have the GIF on my file explorer, and then I'd drag it over Firefox, and then Firefox would pop up, and then I'd drag it into Twitter and drop it, and it would upload it. Now though, like when you drag files over stuff in the taskbar, nothing, it just doesn't do anything. Like it doesn't open the application anymore. So before you drag files onto the taskbar, and then it like whatever application you hovered over would pop up, but it just does not pop up anymore. It just shows like a red X, and it's like I don't know, like, and I actually tweeted about it because I was like, this is really weird, and like a Microsoft developer was like, oh yeah, like that's purposefully like doesn't exist anymore, and we're seeing maybe we'll add it back in eventually. It was like, what? It's such a weird thing to remove. But yeah, there's like little things like that all over the place that are like, why is this suddenly different? And then it also like runs smooth, except some stuff like File Explorer takes longer to refresh. So like when I open a file net, like a file in File Explorer, like or a directory in File Explorer, like the directory will sometimes take like longer for it to render out the stuff for some reason. Like sometimes it'll take like half a second, which is like kind of weird. But the actual like Windows 11 itself, fine. I have no like the overall like it feels fine. It feels like almost the same as Windows 10, just like cleaner UI, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, Visual Studio, like, yeah. This is the first Visual, like, I'm previewing the 2022 one, and this one is actually, like, finally 64-bit, which is cool, I guess. Because I think Visual Studio 2019 was still 32-bit. But they finally, like, are updating it to 64-bit now. Oh, it doesn't stop playing that afterwards. Yeah, I mostly use 2019 now, but yeah, I'm unsure about the whole thing. Does seem like my 2019 is like pretty buggy sometimes. And it's weird. My experience with Visual Studio for C# is like completely different than my experience with Visual Studio for C++. When I'm coding in C# in Visual Studio, no problems ever. It never crashes. It never has any problems. It's smooth. Debugs great. The IntelliSense always works. When I code C++ in Visual Studio, like total mixed bag. Some days it crashes like 10 times. IntelliSense just turns off sometimes. Yeah, it's really strange. I don't really know what's up or why. I mean, I guess it's just the language. Like C++ is a lot harder to parse than C#. Is like so simple to like figure out what's going on because there's no header files and no like include ridiculousness, and like templates are like dead simple, or generics in C# are like dead simple. So yeah. Thanks. Okay, I'm not sure what this boss should do besides just this stuff. We'll figure it out. We'll get there. But the next thing I need to do is make it so it also shoots some other ones, because you can't hit it right now. So it needs to also shoot slower ones that you can like bounce off of, which I don't know how I'm gonna do that exactly. I think I need to add a new do you have any particular inspiration for leaves? Yeah, there's a reason, but it's like a story reason. Which like, yeah, I'm not gonna talk about yet because I don't want to talk about the story yet. But yeah, there's like a reason for that stuff, which I guess maybe I'll show on stream at some point when I actually make real boss. This is like a mini boss. But when I make actual bosses, that stuff will matter. But yeah, there's a reason. Okay, I'm just gonna ugly copy this. Which is terrible, but that's fine. And well, it's gonna end up being different anyways, so that's fine. Where is this thing? What is the sprite called? I'm stealing the sprite from this. Enemies explosion fly. This should not be called explosion fly. It should be called something else. Okay, it has an idle. How do you do that lighting? Yeah, it's actually really simple. The lighting is really simple. It's a subtractive blend mode, and it's just a gradient. But then because there's a palette shader that clamps the colors afterwards, it has those kind of harder edges. So if I go somewhere that has like more varying colors, you can kind of see like the fade is a bit different depending on like what what is being displayed. I'm trying to think of another example of somewhere that like looks interesting. I guess that has some stuff happening. But yeah, because the palette shader is happening, it like clamps to these colors. So like if I turn the palette shader off, and I can do that by just like renaming it to something weird so it can't load it. You can see that it's actually just a smooth gradient. There's no like clamping at all until the palette shader happens, and then it has to clamp it to like the palette, and the palette is chosen just by how bright the color is. So the darker it is, the further left on the palette it is, and the brighter it is, the further right on the palette. So the palettes like are described in the room, so it just has to clamp it to one of these values. So yeah, the fact that it is a palette shader applied on top means that like I don't actually have to do anything special with the lights. They're just a gradient. Yeah, so it's super simple. Yeah. And then the actual gradients are drawn. Like it's drawn to a buffer that is like the actual lights are drawn to a buffer that's black and white. So like the lights are actually black and then the background is white. And then it uses a subtractive blend mode to draw that onto the gameplay. So then the things that are black, such as the lights, get subtracted and are 0. And the things that are white get fully subtracted and become black, which is kind of like the inverse of what you expect, but yeah. Okay. Now I actually want this to... How do the explosion flies bounce? Health 1000, flex strong. Oh yeah, these things should have... This is like a kind of a hack, because the player doesn't do knockback if an object that this is gonna be. I'm not even gonna explain this. This thing has 1000 health, but if it gets hit once, it destroys itself. And then I'll, yeah, get there later. Actually, yeah, this is fine. This is fine. This is fine. Okay, let me just try this. Yeah, the entire game is basically gray. Oh yeah, this is kind of like that boss fight in the frog game. But yeah, the whole game is pretty much gray. All the sprites are just gray, and all the tile sets are gray and stuff. So, and they're colored by the palette shader afterwards, based on their I think it's actually just based on their red value. So like if these were all just like red, like pure red, it would be the same. But yeah. This is probably gonna be really bad. Yeah, this is really bad. So the idea is here though, see it's like do that. That's the idea. but it's gonna be kind of tricky to make it work. Especially with how like slow moving they are. Like, anything about it random? Not yet. Well, actually, the thing about it random right now is where it appears. So, like, the place it teleports to is random. But yeah, this feels like it might not. I'm curious if this is actually gonna work. There's a few problems with this I'm seeing. Mostly that, like, it's really hard to, like, get the positions nice. And you can, like, get hit by it. Yeah. I think the idea is still interesting. But yeah, this is gonna require a lot of, like, iteration probably. Yeah, and then it just hits me anyways. Ugh. Oh my god. There, I hit it once. Yeah, that's pretty fucking hard. So I think there's a few problems. It's like, one, these bullets, they almost need to like go down like this. Like they almost like, he shoots them down and then they like go like, they do like a thing across like this so that they're like more spaced out and more like at different heights. Because right now like this, it's really hard to actually like position yourself to get them in the right place. And you're kind of like waiting around like really slow, so yeah. It's interesting, it's interesting. I don't think it's bad, it just needs like a lot of work here. And I think you should shoot them faster, but then they should slow down themselves. They start shooting fast, they get separated, and then they slow down. Okay, the other thing I'm gonna do is like this can just be like this. I think I'll just have a different routine for this. Actually, no. No, that was still fine. But here, if it's shooting... So when it shoots these, okay, I'm gonna make it shoot from the side of the plot or the side of the room instead of like random. So it needs to go. Yeah, I think I'll upload this stream to YouTube. I might as well. I haven't been, but I think I should. So this will make it so that if it's going to do a pre-platform one, it goes to the sides of the room. And if it's doing other ones, it goes wherever. that makes sense. Okay, well, I'll just try that quickly, even though I'm going to redo the ghost bullets so that they curve inwards, I think. So it shoots them kind of downwards, and then they curve in, so they're kind of more like platforms. And they'll start fast and then slow down. Because, yeah, they take so long to get here. Yeah, I hit him once. Because I think the idea here is okay. Needs a lot of work. Okay. So this is gonna be like, what direction do they want to end up going? And how far down did they go? They're gonna go, I think I want them to curve like this. I almost want them to be a Bezier or something. So they have like a starting position, and they curve like that. But maybe I'll just like have them go like down, and then when they get there, they like change their speed to go to a different way. So target, and then back to after. I don't know what to call this. Speed. I think I'll just get rid of the speed variable because these can be constants. Where did my code go? Okay, so I need to. Okay, hittable damage. There's a lot of times I repeat basically all this code. It's kind of annoying, but whatever. Okay, so we're gonna approach the target. So my stream on my laptop is buffering, but I don't even need it to be playing. I don't know why it's buffering. Hopefully it's not buffering for anyone else. Whatever. Okay, wait, it needs to move towards the target, so how do I want this to work? Do you ever think of going back to C++? Yeah. If sorry, back to C sharp. Yes. Yeah. If C sharp ever, I can see myself using C sharp more for sure. Especially if they work on the AOT stuff some more. Like if I can compile C sharp natively for consoles, then yeah, that'd be pretty sick. I would probably end up going back to it. I like C sharp a lot. It's I think C sharp is still my favorite language. I don't believe this error basically. What? I don't have plus equals? My vector 2? Oh, mover. Wait. Okay. That's what's going on. Sorry, I'm trying to make it so this bullet like moves towards the target position, and when it gets to the target position, it like starts going left, kind of, or rather toward this new direction, which is going to be after. Which I don't know if I'm coding this the best way possible. Feels kind of weird. Like we do this. And then hey, what's up? How's it going? Okay, so we move toward the target position, and when we pass the target position, I'm using this dot product to figure out if we passed it by comparing the normals. Then we start moving to the after way, which let's just try that. I guess maybe I'll approach this instead as well. Let's try this. Okay, I don't know if this is gonna work, but we'll try it. So in here, this needs to be target is gonna be our empty plus negative, or no, m increasing times 2 by plus 2. I'm just making up numbers. 40 times 20 times, or plus 20 times, and shooting here. And the direction, this got really long. It's okay. How do you handle the underwater sound effects in Celeste? I don't totally know. It's So it uses like in Fmod, there's some kind of like parameter settings. Like when Madeline enters the water, it sets like a global parameter in Fmod that like she is in the water. And then Kevin did like Fmod magic to like change sound effects. Like, oh, when she's in the water, like do reverb and special stuff to all of the sounds. So I don't know specifically what Kevin did to make that happen. All I did was like add in the code to like toggle on and off like fmob parameters to be like she's in the water now, and then Kevin did all the magic of like how making that sound good. I don't know how this will work. How this will look or work. Might be really bad. Wow. Okay, that interesting. And not exactly. I mean, actually, it's kind of close to what I was thinking, but it's not quite what I wanted. Okay, one is it's like way too far down, surprisingly. But I think actually should do the lower one first. So this should be nice. Okay, and it's like way too fast here. Yeah, does Celeste? Yeah, Celeste uses a C# to C++ converter. Yeah, it's called Brute. It's not open source. But if you're making like a XNA ported game, you can probably like for consoles, and you have console access, you can probably get access to it. But yeah, it uses one called Brute, and it takes all the C# IL files and turns them into C++ files or code. This is probably the most intense stream I've seen all day. Yeah, fair. Yeah, it is all just magic. There's no. Okay, that's kind of what I wanted. Now I just need to be able to like. So actually, the end result is still. I wonder if this is too specific. Like I was thinking, like, oh. Yeah, I think you're right. Strange M808. I believe you're correct. Something like that. I don't know, but what you said sounds right. Yeah, it's still too high. Network error. Uh-oh. What am I trying to do here? I'm trying to make a mini boss, and the idea when it works here is that you can like it shoots some bullets that you just have to dodge, which kind of suck right now, and then it shoots other ones that you can bounce off of, that you can then use to like hit like that, which, oh my god, oh, it's different heights because it, which is currently proving to be really difficult, like harder than I was expecting here. Especially because it like teleports away like really fast, and then I get wrecked. But this is the idea. The idea is like it shoots these projectiles, and some of them you can bounce off of, and some of them you just have to dodge, and then you're trying to get up to hit it, and it's kind of like floating in the air. But right now it's like pretty. It's like it's gonna need a lot of finessing to get to the point where it actually feels good. The other problem I just realized is that like target position is based on its entry position, which is wrong. So I don't actually want that. And, right now, no, you can't actually. You can, so these ones you can stop, and you can like down attack them, but you don't get a bounce off them. So like if I down attack these ones, I can still break. Well, if I miss, I can't. Um, I can break them if I'm ever like good enough to actually do that. Like that, I can break. Yeah. But you can't actually. There, you don't get bounce off of them, unlike these ones that you get bounce off of. But honestly, this fight is needs to chill a little bit, I think. But this is the idea. Just needs to like, yeah, cool it a little bit. I think before it shoots the other platform. It needs to. Do you need help, Yvonne? Cool. Oh, did you get a new bike?
Yeah.
Whoa, that's awesome. I'll check it out after my stream.
Right.
I'll check it out after I'm done streaming. My partner just bought a new bicycle. That's pretty cool. Stream's kind of, yeah, I'm not sure what's going on. I'm gonna, yeah, like on like Twitch it says my stream quality is like excellent, but then like it keeps cutting out for me too, so I'm not sure what's going on. Like if it's just me or if it's everybody. But I'm not sure like what's up. Actually, you are imagining it in this case. It fading in and out is still clamping it. I bet if I did it really slowly, it looks like it's not, but it looks like it is breaking it, but it's not. It's still like, I mean, okay, whenever I pause, but it, yeah, if I make it way slower, I'll make it ease out like way slower. There, this is like 4 seconds now. So wait, now you can see it. It's fading out slower, and now watch when it fades out this time. Yeah, so it's never actually breaking the palette. It kind of looks like it is because since it's fading, like parts of it are fading at different rates because of what's in the background. So it actually is like kind of becoming like weird, but yeah, it doesn't actually break the palette. So that's fun. And could it teleport onto the player? Yeah, right now I'm not doing any checks for that, but in general, it teleports in the air up here, like it's teleporting in this area. So like it would be difficult. Like you'd have to, if you were like up like this somehow, like if you're up here, which shouldn't really be possible. If you're like up here, or like mid, if you're jumping on these things, then yeah, it could teleport on you. But currently, it does not hurt you if it teleports onto you. So, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let me know if it drops at all. It was dropping like on my side screen here, but then also the quality is excellent. So, don't really know what's up. Might just be Twitch or something. Okay, spread alpha. Right, so now I want to make it so that before it does shooting, right here, actually no, right here after it fades in, so one thing I think is like, yeah, like right now it's like it just repeats the same thing over and over and over again. which feels like might be a problem, like in terms of like making it interesting. Yeah. Like it's kind of like not a super exciting fight right now. But I like the idea still. But yeah, now I need to make it like more varying so it does other stuff. But yeah, the principle of this seems like the basic starting point of this seems cool. It just needs a lot of it's gonna need a lot of work here. You could summon vertical lightning bolts instead of shooting the fast projectiles sometimes. Yeah, that's a cool idea. Also, hey Maddie, that's a fun idea. Yeah, it feels. I think it needs some variation on the stuff it does. Yeah, because yeah, especially when you miss, you're just kind of standing around waiting for stuff. So it needs to do different things. You're kind of trying out, like, oh, like what's it gonna do? Like, I'm kind of doing different things depending on what happens. I like the idea of like lightning bolts. It could maybe occasionally shoot things that you can reflect as well, maybe. Might be fun. Although that might be confusing if it has like that many projectile types. I also think that these ones should home a little bit. Like right now they just kind of move straight in a line. But it might be fun if they like shoot towards you a bit, because you can block them. You can attack them, so if they come towards you, that might be cool. Ooh, okay, it's a good starting point. Oh yeah, slow seeking projectile. Yeah, I think a slow seeking projectile might be cool too, because then like when it does this, it's kind of just over. But like if you have to be aware of it shoot like that slow projectile still like kind of meandering towards you, like during this part, so you're trying to like dodge those as well. That might be cool. Like it could change. So it could do some of these like faster ones like that sometimes, and then other times it could do yeah, that seems cool. I like that idea. Can you bounce off the enemy's head? Yeah, you could actually. I think it might not give you enough height right now. You bounce off of it. I'll try it in a second when I can. That's too high, probably. Yeah. It's hard to get to. It keeps being too high when it teleports in. You need like a low one like that. I think I will bounce off of it, but not enough to like continuously bounce off of it. Like do like keep pogoing. Yeah, I think there's too much. There's end delay on the down attack. So if there was like less end delay on the or like cooldown on the down attack, then you probably could pogo off it. Or if you got more height, if you got more height off the pogo, then you could probably hit it multiple times. But yeah. 3 different cycles between the staircase would be cool. Like 3 fast shots, staircase, slow seeker, staircase, lightning. Yeah, totally. I think that's a good idea, Maddie. So I think what that probably means is I'll want to separate out these different ones, because right now it's like I'll probably want to do like a label here. So like here it'll decide which one to go to. And then this I'll separate out. I'm just gonna repeat this actually. But like this would become restart. So this is like fast bullets. And then I would do another one down here called like staircase. And this one doesn't wait as long. Then here I can just get this stuff. So I'm separating it out into different ones because I'm going to have multiple different ones. And it's kind of ugly. This code is kind of like hard to read. I could do this actually. Just to like make it really distinct. So then here it's going to be like if. Yeah, like that. And then this should just work, hopefully. I'll try it. Uh-oh. Oh, okay, so it needs to decide where it teleports to is dependent on which mode it's gonna do. So actually I think I want to reset these at the start of this whole thing. That way, this is kind of a hack. I just need to remember. I think I'll make staircase 0. I should label these, but I'll do that later. Or maybe change the 3 fast shots to like 2 fast and a slow. Yeah, that's a cool idea too. Those fast bullets are not very fast anymore. What is going on? Oh, the weight. Oh, I moved the weight. Oh. I see. Okay, I see what's going on. Right. Yeah, I could see it also sometimes doing like okay, now it's never doing the staircase one. Because it's just incrementing for forever. Wait, no, that needs to be larger equal to 1. Or larger than 1 right now, because I only have 1. So then in theory I'll have like lightning. And then I'll have seeking. This should probably be an enum. I should make this an enum. But I'm not going to yet. Fast bullet type. And then we have lightning type. And then we have seeking type. Yeah, well, they all just do fast bullets, but at some point, those will be different. Gotta go fast, yep. Gotta go fast bullets, fast bullets. Yeah. Keep trying to dive through them, I can just attack them. I think I want more delay on the end, so you have more time to kind of see where these things are going. Like they go really fast at the start, and then they slow down a lot, but you don't have time to kind of. I think this should be like 1. And then they should wait around here for like before they keep going. Oh yeah, that's I didn't realize that was you. That's awesome. Yeah, 2D and Top looks really cool. I haven't had a chance to play it yet, but I'm really excited to. Like the trailer and stuff look really good. I'm excited to play it. I have not had a chance to yet, but I'm excited to check it out. Oh, I think I need to do. I wasn't thinking about this, but I need to do staircase between each one. Not like right now, it rotates through, but it needs to do staircase on every second one. Yeah. Oh hey, Frozen, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. It is going well, kind of. We'll see. Yeah, see what happens. I'm trying to make this like mini boss enemy, and it's okay. But actually, I realize I need to do something else here where like I think I'm gonna actually get rid of these. Wait. Oh, I know what I need to do. Get rid of this. And then how do you do arrays again? Why does Visual Studio keep putting my stuff on the wrong line? Please, don't do that. Please put it where I ask you to put it. Nope. How do you make arrays in I don't know how to make arrays in C++. Oh, I don't want a lambda. Oh, this is how you make arrays. That's how you do arrays. That was a lambda. Yeah, IDs are like that because I thought I was doing a lambda, so then it got all weird about it. Yeah, it's going well kind of internal. Yeah, it is. It's always going well kind of. Okay, so, and then this is going to be negative. So staircase, fastball, staircase, lightning, staircase, seeking type, and then we're done. Okay, so now here, what we'll do, if this is enshoot, mshoot, index. Okay, so then, sorry, this is like a lot of random stuff happening here, but it's gonna make sense in a second. So this is 1, 0, then 2, 0. Okay, that makes more sense. And then here we're gonna say if this is equal to staircase type, we do that. And then otherwise we're gonna say switch and shoot routine, shoot index. And then we have case staircase type, then we do like that. And then we have fastball type, lightning type. Now it'll actually alternate between them, even though I haven't coded the other ones yet. It'll do that. Okay. So now, depending on the type of routine that happens, it'll do. Okay, so this is the actual, like, yeah, shooting routine. And I think I'm gonna rename this from type to. Okay. And then, yeah. Okay, let's try this, see how it goes. So now I need to actually code the other routines, but it should do a fast bullet one. These fast bullets could honestly maybe be faster. And then it should do a staircase, which it does. And then it'll do fast bullet. And then it should do staircase. Yeah. Okay, so that's cool. So now I just need to switch around or add more types. So there needs to be a lightning type and a seeking bullet type. Cool. Thanks. Yeah, the boss is getting there for sure, slowly. Okay, so now I want, I think I won't do the lightning one yet, but I'll come back to that, because next I want to do the seeking one. I should order these in the order I actually do them. So I'll do the lightning one later, but I'll do the seeking one for now. And I think the fast bullets could go faster. And then staircase, fast bullets. Okay, seeking. So now this one, I think it won't wait that long, and it's not going to shoot very many times. Yeah, they just added a software game development category, like, I think, like, only a few weeks ago. Like, when I was last streaming, they didn't have a game dev category. And I remember tweeting about it, like, 3 months ago, being like, I would love it if there was a game dev category. And anyways, they added one, yeah, really recently, which is cool. Much appreciated. Yeah, it's really recent, so that's cool. I'm gonna do big shoot. I think the frame properties, yeah, these are really long too, so I need to change this. Let me wait a little bit, and then so I need to make a thing called seeking bullet. There's a lot of duplication of code in here, but whatever. I'm gonna call this staircase bullet. Yeah, I think they had one. They had one in like 2016 or something. Like it was a while ago, or quite a long time ago. And then the object we want to seek to is the player. So I don't need any of this stuff. And then do we want more than one seeking bullet? I don't think we do. I think we just want to like end this. Yeah. Okay, so then I need to actually implement the seeking bullet, which should be really easy. Like not be that hard. And instead of this, it needs to have an entity. What does RT stand for? It actually means it's just routine. I think a better thing would have been co. I can't remember why I changed it to RT, but routine. It means routine. It should be maybe co, like for co-routine. But anyways, it's basically C# or sorry, C++ does not have coroutines. Until, well, it does now as of C++ 20, but I can't use C++ 20 yet. So instead of using coroutines, I'm using this like kind of hacky macro thing I have, and ultimately it's just a switch statement. So it's ultimately a switch statement, but it has a bit of like extra stuff in it. So like I can say like repeat this part of the switch statement for like 0.4 seconds and stuff like that. But ultimately, like if I exported this out, it ends up being a switch statement. And it just says yeah, niceties to make it easier for me to like wait a certain amount of time or repeat a label in the switch statement and so on. But yeah, ultimately it's just a switch statement. Okay, I'm gonna copy this code. Kind of silly here. Actually, I think I want this seeking one to have some health. You knew it. Nice. Okay, wait. I'm gonna finish cutting this seeking bullet in like 2 minutes. I'm gonna get some water because I'm out of water. I want water. So I'm going to take a 2-minute break and get some water, and then I'm going to code the seeking bullet. And I think the seeking bullet's gonna work like it'll like shoot at you and follow you and be kind of slow, and then you can slash it and it'll bounce away, but it'll come back. You need to like hit it a few times for it to like pop. Take a tuna break. Take a 2-minute break. Or a tuna break, but I don't have any tuna, so just a 2-minute break. Yeah. But yeah, so I'll be back in a minute. Cool. Okay, be right back. Anyone making any cool games? Yeah, is anyone else working on stuff? Thought I had another bullet. What's this bullet? Oh, that's that one. Low-res game jam sounds cool. Object-oriented programming, yeah. That's cool too, yeah. I definitely like objects in within reason. And a rhythm game sounds cool too. What kind of rhythm game? Okay, well, for now, let's make the seeking bullet. How do I do this one? Is that in enemies? No. this one shouldn't go away, or shouldn't collide with anything. Wait, no, target. Graphics, and then here, I'm just gonna destroy itself immediately, but how many times, like this code is probably repeated like fucking 30 times in this file. I should probably just have a function for it. Okay, but okay, let's just try this. Weird puzzle game on a triangle grid. Sounds cool. Like a tile-based card puzzle game in Unity, but I hit an impasse. I'm not really sure what to do with it next. I'm really bad at making kind of like I've tried to make card games or like puzzle games in general, and I think I'm a much more like action person. I have a hard time like figuring out mechanics for that kind of stuff. Trying to make a new style of everything game takes a while doing it. Oh, cool! Yeah, that sounds fun though. Thanks, I'm glad you like the lighting. It's fun. Yeah, I had a lot of fun making the lighting and stuff. It's really simple, but the palette shader like makes it work much better than I was expecting. Yeah, isn't Ludum Dare coming out pretty soon? Or did it? It hasn't happened yet, right? It's like pretty soon. Okay, wait, what was not compiling? Oh, I guess I fixed whatever wasn't compiling. What? Oh, it went to a state that doesn't exist. Okay. Or a statement in the switch statement that didn't exist. A case in the switch statement. That's what I was trying to say. Oh my god. Okay, the seeking bullet is really fast. I was not expecting something quite that intense. Wow, is this so intense? And I also want to be spinning. Do I have a thing to make animations spin? "19 days. Oh, okay, cool. Oh, that's really soon, actually, or coming up fast, anyways. Oh, okay. These are like way faster than I thought they would be. It's going 30. Oh, I guess it's. Wait, no, yeah. Approaching. Why is it going so fast? Oh, am I not? I'm not fucking normalizing the value. So it's just. Oh, okay. This is all coming together now. Yeah, I really want to do Ludum Dare again. I haven't done it in a really long time. Okay, these work, but obviously they stop working when there's like 100 of them on the screen at once. But like, the general principle of them works. So I should try it in a setting that isn't like completely messed up. Yeah, I think I should actually only take 2 hits, maybe. He seems tense. Hey, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. I'm working on a mini boss right now. Yeah, no worries. I am gonna try to upload them to YouTube later. Because it seems like it'd be fun to do. But, oh shit. Wow, that's hard. Oh, I missed. Wait a second. When this thing shoots the player, it needs to be... like that. And this seeking bullet needs like a offset. Yeah, actually, that's interesting. It does feel like that kind of, hey? I guess they feel more like people or something. Like when it's like a giant crab monster or something, you're just like, oh, it's a giant crab. But when it's like kind of person-shaped and like the same size as you, it feels like it's almost like another player or someone with like more like intent, I guess, than like a giant monster. A giant monster feels kind of like it might not really know what it's doing. It's just like, attacking you. Whereas like a thing that's like more like a person feels like there's more intent behind why it's deciding to mess you up. Okay, this is starting to feel more like a real fight. Oh man. Wow. Okay. Okay, there needs to be more delay. So after she's a seeking one, it needs to wait like a second here. Because it just like teleports away immediately. I don't have time to. Nice. I mean, if Freeze the Boss sounds kind of cool, so whatever. I was wondering, when you only just started to make games or little projects and things, did you often finish them? I'm aware that it's probably better to make smaller things and then publish them, which is now better, but I've been messing around making stuff like 2 years and only started now actually publishing games. Yeah, no, I've like not finished like way more things than I've finished. And I'm still really bad at finishing things in general. Like I have a really hard time finishing things. Like I haven't finished that many games honestly in my life. Like, so I definitely struggle with that still. Oh God. But yeah, I think trying to finish stuff is always good. But yeah, I don't know. I'm really bad at finishing things, and I think I'm getting better at finishing things now, but also my projects are taking way longer. So, like, I thought this project was going to take me a few months. I thought it was going to be really small, and it seems like at the pace it's going, it's not going to be done for like a year or something. But I thought it would be done like this time, like already. So, yeah, it's hard to. I don't know. I'm really bad at that kind of thing. Oh my God. Okay. I think it needs to wait way longer actually. It needs to wait. Here, here. Okay. Little flourish on crystal things, they're probably so much. Oh yeah, there's a lot of stuff since our last stream because my brother and I have been working on it slowly but consistently, like so I'm not even sure all the things that have changed. But yeah, like we added like there was this down attack last time I streamed, but it wasn't a shovel, so we made it a shovel because you get it in the catacombs. So you have to go to like these catacombs, and there's like a storeroom in the catacombs, and you get a shovel from one of these guys. And so then yeah, and then once you have the shovel, you can like get into other stuff and like get into the dungeon, and then you can use the shovel to like break through blocks like this, which are kind of all around the catacombs a lot. Once they spawn on a wall, yeah. Yeah, lots of unfinished stuff still, like, yeah. But this area is starting to take shape. But yeah, this is the idea, right? Like, we're gonna have, like, this is one area, like this dungeon plus this kind of, like, these two areas here. And we're planning on having 4 of those. So, like, this is like the Stoneworks area. The Stoneworks and then, like, the Stone Lake Sanctuary. That's, like, kind of one area. And then we have, like, these like this kind of grassy place, which is currently called the Florida Depths. Sounds like Florida Depths, so we might change that. The depths of Florida over here, which is gonna have like its own area and a boss area, and then we have 2 more up. Like we're gonna have 4 areas was the plan, and like we haven't even finished 1 yet. So like I feel like this game's gonna take like 8 years. When I thought it was gonna take like not very much time, but we'll get there. Shovels and boxes, yeah. Thanks. The movement is much smoother now. What change did you make? A lot of like small changes over time. Yeah, like I guess I was just saying like yeah, just small and consistent changes kind of to the movement. A lot of like really small kind of like tweaks and stuff around how the player moves and how the collisions happen and stuff like that. It's still not perfect, but it's getting better. Yeah, and small things like the player actually, like, they used to get squished in really weird ways, and now they like kind of pop out of the way of things, which is good. Yeah. So yeah, just like slow, steady changes to everything. Yeah. But this area still needs work. Like a lot of the dialogue is pretty rough, and like a lot of the rooms aren't decorated yet. It's like this room has like no background tiles or foreground tiles. So yeah, it needs a lot of work still. But anyways, this is starting to look better. Yeah, I think the bullets that shoot at you, I want them to be slightly randomized. So these fast bullets. Not like totally. Yeah. What's that brother's role? He's doing all the music, which I'm not playing right now, and sound effects and stuff. And he's done a lot of the sprite work. So actually, like all these characters, he did all the sprites for all these characters. And like actually, he did the art for this character too. He did actually a lot of the art in this area he did. So like these stones he did like these background like skeletons. Yeah, these are the catacombs, so they have like cat gravekeepers in them. Yeah, he did like all these sprites and stuff. So he's doing a lot of sprite work, all the music, and then a lot of the dialogue. He's like, we're collaborating on the dialogue a lot. So he's doing a lot of the story stuff with me. Yeah, so I'm doing like all the programming and then a lot of the like game design-y kind of things, but then we're still collaborating on a lot of the game design too. So like he designed a lot of he designed this level. Actually, he designed most of these levels in here. And then I like we'll like kind of go on passes on each other's stuff. So he'll design some levels and then I'll like touch them up, and then I'll design some stuff and then he'll touch it up as we go. I've been making games for longer than him, so he has less experience in terms of the game making stuff, but he's been doing a lot of music and stuff. So yeah, I'm excited to have music in here once like there is music in here, like it does play stuff. He's written some songs and stuff, but they're still a work in progress, so I'm not going to play them on the stream yet until he's happy with them. That's awesome. That's really cool. we used to make games together as kids. So like when we were teenagers, um, I'm 2 years older than him. So when I was like 16 and he was 14, we used to make games together. Um, let's see if I can. But yeah, we used to make a lot of games together when we were kids, and then we kind of like stopped. um, but yeah, because we both went off to different things and stuff. Well, I kept making games. He went into more musical stuff and theater stuff. I feel like those are too random now, actually. I almost wonder if this should hurt the. I'm getting like some input. Inputs are being eaten. I think the buffer on the down attack. Yeah, there's not enough of a buffer on the down attack. Sometimes have that buffer, like with that, my down attack eaten, it feels like it's not happening when I want it to. Like right there, it's like, why did I not down attack? Like it had cooldown, but the buffer should have, there should have been an input buffer that was like, what is the buffer on the attack? Maybe it's not long enough? 0.15. It seems pretty long. Yeah, my brother's actually in university right now too. Again, like he went for a while and he stopped and he's going back again now, so his time is limited as well. Yeah. I was saying on Twitter last night, like, I've been meaning to draw more often. Like, at the start of this year, I was like, I'm gonna start drawing again. Now I really want to draw more often. And then now it's like September and I have not drawn almost at all. And it's like, how did that... I feel like I just drew, like planned to do that, like, really recently. And it's like, yeah, I guess time is just going by really fast somehow. Which is maybe part of getting older. Not even that old yet. I'm not even 30 yet. But, yeah. Time flies. Shit. Oh my god, okay. Yeah, this is feeling pretty good. It's a little bit... I'm gonna have to tweak the timings a bit. It feels a little bit finicky sometimes. So this is a good start. I want to do a lightning attack next, because that sounds fun. And I think I'm deciding that this room is going to need... like, it doesn't really teach you about these the orb bounty things. So I might tweak the room before this. To kind of like teach you about... That's not gonna work. I need to make it so that these are easier to place. Actually, fitting this into here is going to be kind of tight. But I kind of want you to at least like one time do this at least. Maybe I'll have to teach this earlier. I mean, it does, you could optionally see this earlier, like there's this room with a coin that you can, but you don't have to do this. So it'd be kind of nice if it was like a little bit enforced, at least. Oh my god. Yeah, okay. Feels almost possible. So maybe I'll make this higher so it's like clearly not possible. Yeah, that's better. When did development start for this game? A while ago, like honestly, I probably drew this player sprite in like 2019 or something, but I haven't really worked on it like full time. There's been months, like 6 months at a time, where I just have not touched it at all. It started off as a top-down game, and you had like a little blaster, like a little gun. So it's changed a lot, and it's just kind of being like a side project like that. Me and my brother just kind of been iterating on slowly over time. I started it in C# and then I switched to C++. So yeah, it's gone through quite a bit, and it's kind of been something I've been tinkering on for like, yeah, on and off, maybe a year and a half or something. But yeah. That would mean very Zelda 1. Yeah, I think this game, honestly, I think the biggest inspiration for this game right now is probably Link's Awakening. The way the characters are and the kind of progression and the kind of combat that it is reminds me, I mean, it's not top down, but it reminds me a lot of Link's Awakening, to me anyways. So yeah, I think there's definitely a lot of that in here. And if it was a top-down game, it probably would have felt very Link's Awakening. Okay, so now I need to figure out how many hits this thing should take in. Probably only like 10 or something. 10 might even be pushing it, maybe 8. Let's try 8. That's true, yeah, Link's Awakening does have some 2D sections. And interestingly, like, those don't feel super similar to this, to me. But, yeah. The 2D sections in Link's Awakening are fun, I like them. They're usually really short, just kind of almost for style, it feels like. Or like breaking up pacing, kind of, which is fun. Maybe I should have a top-down section in this game just for moments to like break up the pacing. Okay, so now I want to do lightning attack. Yeah, this is still pretty hard. Might be too hard. Wow. Got owned. Now it didn't respawn. I started in that room and there's no player spawn in that room. Ow. Yeah. That's a good headcanon. I like that. Yeah, and then he leaves. That's really good. Yeah, I mean, I figure at some point I'll probably show on stream what my plan is for the boss fights and stuff in the Leaf Health. But I won't yet because I kind of want to work on it and implement it first. I don't really care about spoiling stuff on stream that much because, like, honest, like the amount of people who like watch the streams versus end up playing the final game, hopefully, like, you know, is small. So I don't think I'm worried about spoiling story stuff too much yet. But since there's not even like I haven't even like added any of it yet, it might not even work. So, you know, I want to iterate on it a bit first before I like show that stuff on stream. Yeah, that's feeling pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that, honestly. I need to make it fade out its light when it dies. And then I want to make the sprite I want to make it so that when it shoots, it kind of like pulses a little bit. Good question. I don't know why pickle jars are so hard to open. What is the strength of the knockback on the slow object? I think this should be. I guess I could just leave. And it restarts again. Oh, that's one thing I should do is like after you. I don't want it to run the cutscene again after you. I mean, it doesn't run the cutscene at all, but once I uncomment the cutscene, it'll run, and then it shouldn't run if you've already seen the cutscene. If you see the cutscene and you die, oh no, I attacked the wrong way. That was cool. Okay. Next I'm gonna do lightning attack, and then after the lightning attack, I'll probably stop streaming. But I want to do the lightning attack first. Hey, how's it going? I think it'd be cool to have a boss do an attack that can turn out a light if it hits, forcing the player to turn it back on. It'd be a cool way to make the light. Oh yeah, totally. That's a cool idea, yeah, because this lights, so I turn them all on, but like the boss normally doesn't spawn until all the lights are turned on. And then he's supposed to do stuff, like I commented out his cutscene, but in theory he has a cutscene. And yeah. And actually, also in theory, you don't have the lantern yet. Which doesn't matter because it's really bright in this room with these lights, but yeah, turn them off is a cool idea. Maybe he could do that at the end of each one. You're working on a Dumb Celeste mod? What is the Dumb Celeste mod? Yeah, I mean the lightning attack could turn them off. Like it also potentially. Actually, that's an interesting idea. Yeah, I like that idea. Although I guess I don't know what happens like if the lights are turned off. Maybe you can't hurt him when the lights are turned off? Or maybe he's just not visible when the lights are off. So like, if the lights are off, he's just like, you can't see him. I'll try that. I'm gonna try this. Okay. So, kind of makes me think the lightning one shouldn't happen every time then. I'll leave it here for now, but I think that I might switch out lightning so that like He does these, and then lightning's at the end. But okay, I'll try this for now. You've seen the mod Heart of the Storm, right? It was in the 2024. Okay. I feel like I've seen it, but I can't remember it off the top of my head anymore. I'm sure as soon as I saw it again, I'd remember it. Yeah, okay, my thought right now is that, like, this might take long. I might not be able to do this on stream today because I can't stream for much longer. But my thought right now, okay, normally you wouldn't have. I have to turn this off every time, which is annoying. Normally you wouldn't have the lantern, you'd only have the shovel. So then you'd like turn the lights on, and the boss appears, and then you fight him. And then the lightning one, what he'll do is he'll like spawn in the center of the room, like right. You can't see where I'm pointing, where my mouse is. He'll spawn right here. And then he'll do some kind of like animation where he like charges up, and then the 3 stone lights will like also charge up, and then they'll like zap electricity upwards like this, like each of them, and go out. But then obviously if you're here, you get hurt by them, so you have to avoid that. And the lights go out, and then he's not visible while the lights are out. And then if you turn the lights on again, then he becomes visible. And I guess he'd only do that lightning attack if. Like, he'd skip the lightning attack if the lights are not on. But that sounds pretty cool to me. Let me just try here. I'm trying to think if I have a way to... have a way to turn them back on. What is a stone light? Or turn them off, I guess. Yeah, I think I could do this, but this might require a... Why are they over? It's not environment. Oh, they are environment. It's not in the wrong folder. Okay, well, I'm not gonna do this right now, but like, they don't have a way to turn back off yet. So this might be something that I do another day. But I like this idea. That sounds really fun. What was the feeling you had once you realized how enthusiastic people were about modding Celeste, and how did it feel to play others' maps? I think it's really cool. I was really surprised that people wanted to mod it that much. Like, I wish, in retrospect, that I'd made the game more moddable. Like, I wish it was easy. Like, don't get me wrong, the amount of work that's gone into making mods accessible and the tools around it are amazing and like super cool. And I think that's like, I am super happy that those exist and that people put so much effort and time into it. But I wish that, like, from the get-go, Celeste was more easy to mod, like, without requiring the amount of tooling that it does. Like, I wish we'd just, like, obviously people could still make their own modding tools on top, but I wish, like, the base layer of, like, editing Celeste was easier, so that the modding tools wouldn't have to do as much, like, work as they need to. So yeah, in retrospect, I wish Celeste was easier to mod. I just was not expecting it to be modded at all. Like, it wasn't... I don't think it was just something I even considered. Like, I don't know why I didn't consider it, but I didn't at all. So yeah, I think that's very cool. The amount of work that people put into it is really cool. Which, yeah, for this game, like, I don't think this game will be as moddable. Like, I don't think people will, like, want to mod this game as much as Celeste, because Celeste is just really cool to mod because of the way the gameplay is. This game's a bit slower paced than Celeste and stuff, so I feel like it might not be as fun to mod. But that said, even so, I'm trying to make this game more mod friendly from the get-go. Like, I'm going to release the editor with... Oh, there's a bug here. I'm going to release the editor from the get-go. Oh, that's weird. Yeah, what the hell? Oh, I see what's happening. If I open this and slide over it, clicks that. anyways, so like people can make their own maps, and stuff, for this game, and even like make their own sprites and stuff, and it'll just load them so they can make their own character, and that's just like a part of a mod. So then in theory you could just do whatever you want, and add your own custom entities and stuff. Like this has like Lua scripting for objects, so you can add custom, like actually some of the entities in this game, in the main game, are like done in Lua. So actually the door object, like the key, like the doors that open, are all done in Lua, and then you can just add your own. So like if this mod wanted to add like its own entities, it could, you know, by just adding new entity types and stuff. So I want to try making stuff in the future more moddable from the get-go. So yeah, this door is done in Lua. That like, this is all like done in just a completely Lua-based object. So yeah, in the future I want to make stuff more easily moddable because I think it's really sweet. Yeah. So anyways, that was a long thing, but basically, I think mods for Celeste are fucking really cool. I'm really happy that people are doing it. The amount of like effort and stuff put into it is like really cool. Yeah, I think Pico 8 is really good to learn, and doing the Lua stuff in there is really fun. It's really worth messing around with. I think honestly, I've been streaming for almost 4 hours, or 3.5 hours, so I might call the stream at this point, and then I'm gonna work on this lightning move. I'll get rid of it, but I'm gonna work on this lightning move later, I think, because I think I need to take a streaming break and have some dinner and stuff soon. But yeah, this is really good. This is a really good start. And then I think I need a way to be able to turn the stone lights off again, which I don't have right now. And like, no, I don't know if I could like a simple way to do that, because they have like animations for how they turn on, so they have to like inverse that and reset themselves. So yeah, I think for now I'm gonna stop here and then try doing the lightning another day. But yeah, this is really good. Yeah, maybe I'll think of it over dinner. It's a good chance for you to do level design stuff and work with teams. Yeah! I think Fox person mods. Nice, that's cool. Fox person mods sounds fun. Oh, I didn't see that. That's cool. Are you using Spotify, and is your... Yeah, I'm using Spotify. The playlist is Harris Heller, and they made a bunch of like stream safe music, and I like it, and it's just kind of chill. So you can look them up. They have their stuff on YouTube, and they have a Twitter account and stuff, but they just like gave it, or like allow people to stream all their stuff. So yeah, I like it just for, I don't listen to it a lot while I'm working. I usually listen to other stuff, but for streams I like it a lot because it's kind of chill, easy background stuff, and I like it. But yeah, I think at this point I'm going to, yeah, take a break from streaming. Yeah, but I appreciate everyone hanging out. It was a lot of fun, and I hope to do this more often. Like, this is the first time I streamed in like quite a while. But I want to make it happen more often, because look what happened. Like, I've been putting off this boss fight for like 2 weeks, and then I stream, and it comes together really fast. So it's not done yet, but like, this is an amazing starting point for this. So feeling pretty good about that. Yeah. All right, cool. Yeah, sorry you missed the beginning. Yeah, I know I say that every time. I'd love to stream more often. Anyways, see you in 6 months. I would like to. It's always true, though. It's never a lie. It's always true. I always would like to stream. But yeah, okay. On that note, I'm gonna head out. And I hope everyone has a good night or good day or whatever. Cool. Okay. See you all. I don't know how to end this. Where's the end button now?